Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Rick Green, and welcome to the Tuesday Night Habits of Health class. Tonight, we're going to be talking about Lesson 20 or Chapter 20, The Best You Can Be. Tonight, I have Joe Ward with us, who's going to be doing the presentation. And I've got a little story from one of my clients, who is actually a health coach as well. And it was pre-recorded, so I caught him a few minutes, when he was, doing his day, caught him in between things, and so I stopped, and he called me, and so I've got his before and after right here. So let me get that going for you, and you can listen to what he has to say. So I'm going to go ahead and do a share screen with that, and let's see where he's at.
Okay. All right. Earlier today, I was able to catch John Johnson, who is a health coach now, and got a few minutes of his time. I've got the flip side of his business card here. So, John, thanks for stopping by, taking some time with me today. You have a bit of a story to tell. You want to go ahead and share that with us?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, nice to be here too, Rick. Hey, my story is back when you see me overweight there, I remember just feeling, really tired, really sluggish, lack of energy, not very motivated, and all those things together kind of caused that depression. It was just a depressing feeling like that all the time. I remember that my wife had ran into you at this Christmas bazaar, and she called me up and she says, John, she says, I found this guy. She says, you got to come check him out. He's got this pair of pants that he's holding up, and it's incredible how much weight he's lost. And so I did. That's when I met you, and I came down and checked it out and checked out your story. And my wife and I talked it over, and we decided to do this together, kind of back one another. And you said you'd give us all sorts of support. So we did this, and in about 4.5 months, we both had lost about 60 pounds. And I remember that I was on some medications, high blood pressure. I was taking Nexium for the GERD, heartburn, and my cholesterol was not good, and I was on some meds for that. So after I went in for my physical, some months later, after I'd lost that weight, my doctor eventually, took me off all of my medications, which I'm still off of everything. It's been a little over 2 years, and still maintain the weight off through you and teaching us healthier habits and how to maintain this weight and create a healthier lifestyle. So changed my life. I want to go out and help other people learn how to feel good again about themselves and feel healthy again. And that's where it's brought me today.
Nice. So obviously you've been maintaining for 2.5 years or so, and feeling pretty good about where you're at right now.
Yes, very much. Yeah. Out jogging, just have a really good active lifestyle again. Gosh, I'm gonna be, I think, 64 here in a couple of months here, so I'm feeling really good. I'm 100% off of any medications. And I feel that's pretty rare for people of my age, I think. So I feel very good about that.
Well, that's awesome. That is very, very good. And, I see this all the time. And, John, your stories are not unlike a lot of people. So congratulations on your weight loss. And I know your wonderful wife is happy as well. So congratulate her for me as too. And thanks for taking the time today and stopping by and sharing your story with us. Really appreciate that.
You're very welcome, Rick.
All right. Well, thanks, John. Hopefully we'll stop by and catch up with you very soon. All right.
Well, that was John Johnson, who is one of my clients. He's been maintaining now for a couple of years. He's an awesome guy, and I really thank him for stopping by and sharing that story with us. I know that he actually works full time and is a health coach as well. So with that, Joe, are you ready to go? I think we're ready to get into the habits of health now and talk about optimizing your life at any age.
All right. Well, let me share the PowerPoint slide here. Make sure we're all seeing that.
There we go.
Are you seeing the slideshow portion of it?
You betcha.
All right. Well, first off, I want to say thank you, everybody, for sticking through the 12 weeks of the class. Tonight's the last week of this series, but we're starting it up again next Tuesday night. We'll start back over at week 1. Stay plugged into this. This is the thing that makes us different. You can do a lot of things to lose weight. Some of them even work, but without changing your lifestyle and changing your habits, it's just another diet. And I think we've shown that diets fail. And really, I want to say thanks, Rick and Charlotte, for everything you guys do to produce these, and Troy and Brian too, behind the scenes. Everything you guys have done, this really helps solidify it. And it's a great tool for me as a coach and as a client, and for my other clients as well. So with that, let's talk about where we are, optimizing. Week 12. Let's go back a little bit in review. We talked last week about dousing inflammation, Becky with her Santa hat, and we talked about the healthy support system before that. This is part of that, a healthy support system. And then, of course, the sleep chapter the week before. Resources for this week, just like every other week, it's the Habits of Health system, which is Dr. A's Habits of Health, and the companion guide or workbook, Living a Longer, Healthier Life. We're working out of chapter 20 and lesson 16, talking about nutrients and optimizing your health at any level. So for the first time in history, more than half of all insured Americans are taking some prescription medication. If you talk to Dr. A or go to any events at any length of time, you're going to hear him talk about this. And you're on this list of medications, and each one of them's got a list this long in the doctor's reference guide of all of the side effects that can happen. And then you're going to take other medications to combat and counteract the side effects of the first medications you were put on. And it's all of these things together are just causing this chronic problem. JJ, in his story, was talking about how he's off of all of his medications. And for a person of his age, it's almost unheard of these days. And that's a tremendous testimony to the power of the system that we're in, living an optimal, healthy life no matter where you are. So we've watched over the last 11 weeks, trying to be the best you can be. It doesn't matter where you are when you're starting this path. And I've said this before, until you are in the box, in the ground, you can make a choice, and you can choose to change your health and impact it in a positive way. I love telling the story. One of my favorite clients is an 86-year-old woman who is blind and half deaf, but she chose just a couple of weeks ago to choose optimal health. She wants to lose about 40 pounds, get her blood sugar in line, but more importantly, she wants to model it for her family, for her sons and for her grandchildren, so they will hopefully take her lead and live a longer, healthier life. So it doesn't matter where you are on this continuum. You can make a choice and move past your health today. And I think we've kind of shown that over the last 11 weeks. Reversing the effects of a deficient diet. Remember all the way back in some of the early chapters in the book and some of the earlier classes, previous lessons, our bodies were built for a time when food was scarce, so it was hard to come by. It had a low energy content, so low in calories, but a really high nutritional value. These days, though, food is readily available, has a low nutritional value, but a lot of excess energy, empty calories, junk food. We have a lot of factors that go into the food we eat today being deficient, not having enough nutritional value or nutritional content. over farming, that depletes the soil of vital nutrients that get passed into our food and passed on to us, using inorganic fertilizers, treating vegetables with sulfites that'll denature some of the nutrients that will come through the vegetables. Less than half of the typical diet today has any nutritional value whatsoever. We eat a lot of highly processed junk food that's got a lot of calories but no real nutrition. So talking about building that bubble, the microenvironment of health, how are we going to overcome that? And that's what we're talking about tonight. Step one, we need to add some new nutrition back into our diet, things that we're not getting through our diet, especially if you're not eating a regular fish diet. I'm not a big fish eater. I work on salmon and tilapia, but I haven't developed a taste for it personally. Adding in some fish oil, omega-3 fatty acids, that's going to help your heart health, decrease your risk of sudden death, improve your cardiovascular system, blood pressure, reduce certain cancer risks, especially breast cancer and colon cancer, and reduce the autoimmune inflammation that we have, Becky kind of talked about last week. DHA is also really good for brain function and your eyes. Recommendation is 1 to 3 grams per day. The next step is taking a really good, high-quality daily multivitamin. And something I want to make a note of here is make sure that you're getting very high-quality supplements. Not all vitamins are created equal. And vitamins have a corresponding mineral that they work with. They create a synergistic effect. And we'll talk about that a little more in a couple minutes. But for example, calcium is a mineral that helps to fight osteoporosis and provide for your bones. But getting vitamin D and vitamin K along with your calcium will make the calcium uptake easier and be more efficient in your body. So check the labels of your multivitamin. Make sure that you're getting the recommended allowances. And I would suggest going to Dr. A's book, page 262, and in chapter 20, we're talking about all of the vitamins and what dosages we should have. USRDA, the U.S. government, has some recommendations, and I think that we could say that those recommendations are somewhat skewed, not only for vitamins or minerals, but also what they recommend in terms of the food pyramid and what your calorie breakdown should be. Vitamin A, for example, very powerful immune booster, helps heal wounds, helps you stabilize and regulate your blood sugar. That's something we've been doing throughout the program just by eating right, but vitamin A is going to further that. And Dr. A's recommendation is 5,000 IUs per day. I don't know what the USRDA is, but I'm pretty sure it's less than that. The next really important nutrient that we want to talk about is vitamin D. I live in Arizona, and it's bizarre to me, but we just had another baby, and they gave us these drops, vitamin D-sol drops for the baby, because your body will help produce vitamin D by exposure to sunlight, to healthy exposure to UV. But in the summer in Arizona, we all stay inside. We kind of coalesce together around air conditioners because it's so hot outside. So they give us these drops to give infants. Vitamin D is really important for the uptake of calcium, for strengthening bones. And a lot of Americans are vitamin D deficient because we don't get that natural vitamin through our nutrition anymore. Prevents osteoporosis, depression, prostate and breast cancer. It's been linked to diabetes and obesity. And a lot of times people think it's fibromyalgia. The symptoms of being vitamin D deficient are muscle and joint pain, depression, weak bones, osteopenia, osteoporosis. Dr. A is recommending 2,000 to 4,000 IUs per day. Step 3 would be a really good B complex vitamin. B complexes are an energizer. They're going to lower the inflammatory response. It says a vasodilator. That means it expands or dilates your vascular system, which is going to reduce your high blood pressure. It's going to improve your oxygenation and perfusion, and it's really important for developing babies. It supports brain function and your peripheral nervous system. A B complex, this is the stress vitamin, right? So when you're stressed out and your body starts producing all of these raging hormones, taking a good B complex is going to counteract some of that stress. This table is the recommendations from Dr. A's book, and I believe that's also on page 262 of The Habits of Health. It's in chapter 20 for sure. Adding antioxidants. This is, I really like this one because this gets kind of sciencey and geeky. Oxidation is a natural process. And people are like, well, we need antioxidants. What are oxidants? It's oxidation. Think of rust. Rust is the oxidation of iron. It's caused by having some free radical oxygen molecules that react with the iron to create iron oxide, rust. The same process, a similar process happens within our body. Free radicals will oxidate and break down the cells in our body. Antioxidants buffer that. They are natural occurring chemicals that compounds through nutrition that are going to intercept the free radical oxygen cells and neutralize them before they break down our healthy cells. That's you hear about all of these different juices and berries and things. Blueberries are a tremendous source of antioxidants, a naturally occurring antioxidant. Reducing inflammation and your C-reactive protein is going to protect against a lot of diseases. Inflammation is being linked now to heart disease and certain types of cancer. So, antioxidants and getting your body really to reacting well is kind of the rejuvenation. It's the fountain of youth. You're going to decrease the signs of aging because you're intercepting the damage to your cells before it's done from the free radicals. So vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin E, vitamin K, those are all naturally occurring antioxidants. And here's the table that Dr. A lays out. Make sure like I said, when you're going and grabbing your multivitamin, and maybe you need a couple of sources of multivitamins, make sure you're getting the appropriate amounts, a minimum of all of these critical nutrients. Adding in more to antioxidants, naturally occurring foods, apples, onions, broccoli, tea. Broccoli is also a really good source of calcium. People overlook that. Also, the dark green leafy vegetables, kale, spinach, collard greens, leafy green things have a tremendous source of antioxidants. And again, go back to page 262 in Dr. A's Habits of Health book. Key minerals. This was what I was talking about earlier. Calcium, magnesium, selenium, zinc, those are all important for musculoskeletal development. They fight off viral infections, balance your hormones, ward off cancer. Taking your minerals with the appropriate vitamins, vitaminerals or vitanutrients is important to maintain the uptake. That's why if you look at dairy milk these days, it's enriched with vitamin D because vitamin D helps the uptake of calcium that we get from the dairy milk. Taking a really good anti-inflammatory package. Like Becky talked about last week, and we talked about a little bit ago, inflammation is linked to many kinds of disease. That C-reactive protein, it's something you can test for. I recommend getting tested for it, seeing what your reactive levels are. That's indicative of an immune system that's fighting hard through inflammation against your own body. But in good anti-inflammatory, vitamin C, vitamin E, a really good B complex, fish oil, all of these together, chromium, magnesium, selenium, zinc, these are going to lower your overall inflammatory effect, which is going to make you feel better and help prevent many of the chronic diseases that we see come up through lifestyle. Fiber. Fiber is really important. Two kinds of fiber. There's insoluble fiber. It's not metabolized by the body. It doesn't dissolve in water, but it does fill you up. It helps to reduce your hunger, and it cleans out your GI tract as it passes through your system. Aids in your regular bowel movements. That's the Metamucil, right? People mixing up fiber in their drinks because they're having some issues there. But natural sources, brown rice, whole grain brown rice, whole grain breads, multi-grain breads, cereals, seeds, fruit skins. People, I laugh at this. People always eat white potatoes and they peel the peels off. If you're going to eat white potatoes, leave the peels on. That's the fiber. That's the nutrient from your potato, right? Other vegetables and legumes, all very high in fiber. Soluble fiber, it's a different kind of fiber, slows down the metabolization of complex carbs, reducing your glycemic load, reduces your blood sugar, and lowers the insulin load. So if you eat enough, this is going to help your lipid profiles, your cholesterol, triglycerides. Think, again, vegetables, legumes, beans, fruits, rye, oats, barley, other types of fiber. Step 8, think of the bonus round. Alpha lipoic acid, I can never say that, antioxidant. It helps reverse diabetic neuropathy. It's going to fight insulin resistance, reduces inflammation again, and the immune activation of autoimmune disorders. CoQ10, really good. This I remember when this supplement came out a few years ago. Really good at helping your body's energy production. Very good for your heart health, immune system. It's an anti-cancer agent. It's an antioxidant. Very critical for optimal health. And chromium picolinate has been around forever to help people with diabetes. It's going to help with fat accumulation, reversing that, and some of the metabolization of sugars, helps you reduce your cravings for sugar, lowers your inflammation response again, has a good effect, positive effect on heart disease, high blood pressure, and diabetes, and helps combat aging. Final slide, a really good probiotic. Again, there's a study out. Probiotics. Probiotics are the good biology, good bacteria within your GI tract that help aid in digestion and nutrient uptake. They're important. Science Life at the University of Chicago published an article in August of 2014. Basically, they've identified that certain bacteria in our GI tract are responsible for preventing food allergies. Specifically, peanut allergies is what they were testing. So having an absence of this good bacteria causes allergies. And at least in laboratory mice, they were able to reverse a peanut allergy by reintroducing certain bacteria. Probiotics are an important thing, especially if you've been exposed to broad spectrum long-term antibiotics to treat diseases. It's a good chance that some of your gut bacteria has been eradicated or at least minimized, killed off through that process. I remember we always used to eat yogurt and take an acidophilus supplement with antibiotics to try to keep the positive biology, the good bacteria in our gut whenever I took antibiotics. But a good probiotic is going to help promote those good cultures of bacteria that aid with digestion. It's going to reduce gas and cramping, bloating, other GI problems. A client of mine, it's very funny, he always thought he had irritable bowel syndrome and couldn't eat certain foods. It would just really mess up his digestion. And he's been on program. He's lost about 85 or 90 pounds now. And he's come to find that he wasn't allergic to any of the things that he thought he was allergic to that caused him to have these, GI problems. He was really just not eating well. And through this process of eating better and eating healthier, taking a good supplement and promoting the good bacteria, he doesn't have those problems anymore. Another good thing of probiotics, we're going to reduce the C-reactive proteins. We're going to reduce more inflammation. and reduce the immune response that feels like you're allergic to something. It's because your body's not producing the enzymes and the proteins necessary to break those things down because you don't have the good bacteria. So that's my talk on probiotics. And that's the end of the show. We've got a couple minutes left. Rick, what do you think?
I think as it is with the probiotics, it's very important to have that. In fact, I make a recommendation that when people start on the program, that we actually add a good probiotic into the dietary intake as well, because we find out that a lot of people that have been sick or that are on certain medications, they're having gastrointestinal issues, and they're having things like irritable bowel syndrome, and which it's been misdiagnosed. When we can really reverse the effects with good probiotics. So once we introduce that into the system as well, they're finding that things balance out. So, your talk on probiotics, everything is positive, and I agree 100%.
Well, I can speak to that one directly. My wife had long-term broad-spectrum antibiotics for a long time as a child and has had many allergies since then, food allergies and sensitivities to things. Her GI tract just doesn't work right. When I went on program, we ordered some probiotics for her, and she's been taking those regularly. It's a godsend. It has helped her so much just kind of combat that. So I really speak on probiotics. They're very important.
Oh, I agree 100%. In fact, it's if you have some problems with your gastrointestinal issues, I would try a probiotic before I would do anything else. And balancing the nutrition in your day, well, that's going to help too, because we know that there's a lot of foods out there that are nutrient deficit. And, because of all those things that have been happening, I mean, you're talking about the over farming and no nutrition in our fruits and vegetables.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, it's a great idea that while you're doing the maintenance and while you're maintaining, your weight loss or just getting healthy, to get a good multivitamin and these other recommendations, and those recommendations are in the Habits of Health from pages 259 to 262. Yeah, right there. So grab that as a reference so that you understand where you need to go and what you need to do in order to get the proper phytonutrients back in your system. Because this is really, really important in maintaining not just weight loss. It's important in maintaining your health in general, as far as overall. The fact that getting healthy is not just about losing weight. That's just kind of the aftermath of getting healthy. Getting healthy and losing weight, they go hand in hand. But really maintaining your health and your weight, they go one in one with the lifestyle change. So very important. Going back a little bit and talking about some of the reversing and optimizing our nutrients. One of the other things that I like to talk a little bit about is the antioxidant power. You made a really good reference about our system and how what occurs. It's kind of like rusting. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. If you're also looking at antioxidants, looking at where you can get the antioxidants, Dr. A has outlined in Dr. A's book. Dr. A has outlined some specifics where those antioxidants come from, and like you said, blueberries are a very powerful antioxidant. So greens, leafy green vegetables, very highly recommended. And I know that apples and broccoli and onions, even tea, green tea in particular, has an antioxidant property. So I validate drinking tea. The fact that you may or may not do your choice of whether it's decaffeinated or not, but a green tea is excellent for antioxidants, and I like to have a couple of cups of that a day. So looking at reducing the C-reactive proteins, so that that marker, the C-reactive protein, can be tested at the doctor's office if you're concerned with that. It's a simple blood draw, and you can probably have the results in 24 hours. But if you have a high C-reactive protein marker in your blood, it's a great indicator that you have more inflammation in your body than what you should. And so trying to lower that number down is going to reduce the inflammation, and you'll reduce your risk of stroke and heart attack a lot by just reducing the C-reactive proteins in your system. So with that, do you have anything else to add, Joe?
No, it's been a great series. I look forward to doing this again. It's been tremendous for me, honestly. Becoming a coach and teaching this and living it, and living an integrated life is the best way I can put it. Where this is this isn't a thing I did to lose a bunch of weight, but this is what I do to be healthy and to promote health, is tremendous. And this class is such a great example and tool for that. Thanks for doing this every week, Rick, and I look forward to being involved with the next series.
Well, you know what, Joe, it's just like you. You know, we're out here getting America healthy. We're living our dream. We're getting healthy and getting other people healthy as well. So I appreciate your time tonight in doing the presentation. And thank you, JJ, for stopping by and allowing us to listen to your story too. So with that, this is the end of the series this year. And we're going to start up again next week with Series 3, Week 1. So tune in for the Tuesday night Habits of Health, 6:30, and hopefully we'll see you there. Thanks, Joe. Thank
you. Good night.
All right. Have a good one.